And we proceed with the program, and next thing we have is a panel discussion about evolution of crypto markets, the role of initial exchange offerings and future contracts. And I would like to invite to the stage the moderator of this amazing panel, Richard Piacentini. And speakers, please join us at the stage. Ralph Liu, Tony Evans, Lalit Bansal, and Marita Thibouet. Thank you, guys. I'll give you microphones. Sasha. Thank you. We will give you microphones just right now, and please introduce yourself. And we are looking forward to hear lots of amazing and useful information from you. Thank you.
Hello. It's working. Okay, hello everybody. So I'm Richard Piacentini. I'm the CEO of Sharkaru. We are based in Bangkok and San Diego, and we are a digital securities consulting agency.
Hi everyone, my name is Marita Thibouet, and I'm the CMO at Gate Technology. Gate Technology owns Gate.io, Wallet.io, and GateChain.io. Gate.io is one of the oldest cryptocurrency exchanges. We've been around since 2013, and we are top 10 in all of the crypto exchanges in real volume.
My name is Ralph Liu. I'm the founder and CEO of two companies. One is MuChain, which is a P2P personal delivery services. Say you live in Bangkok, if you come to Los Angeles to visit me, then you can bring any personal item for anybody else. The second company is called TurboChains. That's a social networking, digital wallet, mobile payment, and m-commerce combined super app. I myself, by training, is an investment banker.
Hi, good morning. This side Lalit Bansal. I'm founder and CEO of EIVSS Private Limited, also director of Revinfotech. We have 2 offices in India and 1 in California. We are mainly focused into development of various platforms, softwares, mobile, web app, and also into marketing. Also, I'm on top 10 of people of blockchain at ICO Bench. Thank you.
After that introduction, I have to be good, yeah? So I'm Tony Evans. I'm founder of FGC Group and co-founder of Blockchain Desk. What we do is we've been in the industry for 5 years, helping investors invest into real projects. And Blockchain Desk is the new part of our business, which is basically taking like merchant banking to the market, like liquidation service, like mergers and acquisition, and also taking existing companies and merging them with ICOs.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys. So our panel today is evolution of crypto markets, roles of IEOs and future trades. So we can start on this. Maybe you can explain to us what's the difference between an IEO, what is it, and what's the difference with ICOs and STOs?
So originally when ICOs popped out, I think it was, a revolutionary way to acquire funding and all of that kind of stuff. But one of the things that was missing in the industry was accountability. And with IEO's initial exchange offering, you're able to actually fund your project. You're already going to have the users that we already have. You have all of those users that you're going to be able to market to. And on our side, we're able to provide the users and provide the projects with more accountability. And I think that's really important because like the ICO craze saw a lot of funds go missing. And obviously we have loyalty to our users. That's really the number one thing. The IEOs is just a way to provide innovative projects to them. So we really take a look at our users first, so we would never ever, work with a project that was going to have the funds go awry. So I think that's probably the most important thing. One of the things that we're doing in the IEO space is some of the funds are being raised in GT, our native token, And as a result from that, you're able to lock some of the funds. So for example, if we work with a project and they set certain milestones, we can lock those funds and make sure that they're only released if those milestones are met. So I think what IEOs have brought to the industry is more accountability. And I think as we see IEOs grow, we're going to see even more of that.
Okay, so if I talk about my personal experience in terms of the evolution of cryptocurrency, blockchain, fractionalization, or tokenization, what I can talk about first is basically with the internet, you have crowdfunding. So when crowdfunding started, people get so excited. Wow, through the technology, all of a sudden I can raise money. Anybody got a good idea, I can just get money. I don't have to deal with really obnoxious VC anymore. That was the first step. So then, lo and behold, you see everybody rush to the internet market and to raise money from small investors. Therefore, they just went ahead without regulation. So if you look at the evolution process, it's basically when everybody tried to take advantage of the technology, the benefits of the technology, and later on, you still have to go under the regulation. Now, the ICO, or the tokenization, is nothing different from a tokenized crowdfunding. So then if you look at during the peak of the market, 2017, so many people rush to the market. Then you find out a lot of people, they don't really have a lot of banking background or legal background. But all of a sudden, they ended up with a product, which is a tokenized. That's a concept, Everybody have a fractional share. Now, once you, open up the door for this, so unavoidable, you have a lot of, con artists, scammers, all rush into the market. For a whole year or two, the regulator couldn't catch up until they started to learn. Then they found out, wow, this thing should be under the regulation. Then they started the concept of STO instead of ICO. So the latest development, again, that's an IEO. So what exactly is STO? Even until today, I couldn't figure out what they call the STO. If you look at the fundamental of all the tokens, you will have three types of tokens. The first one is a payment currency, as a currency token, such as a Bitcoin or Ether. The second type, that would be the true utility token. On the utility token, you have a platform token. Then you have the business application utility token. The third category, that would be the asset token. So the asset token, you can really take it from the other side. It's nothing more than a tokenized security. So therefore, if you raise money, and then it has to be called a security, the terminology of security from an investment banker's perspective is really created by the regulator, for the regulators. So it doesn't really matter you're selling a payment currency, utility currency, or asset token. If you try to raise money from the retail investor, the regulator use a rule, and I'm sure a lot of them you're familiar with, that's a Howey test. So what exactly is a Howey test? That would be you're investing for profit motive through a currency into a corporation. And also you have to depend on a third party's effort to make money. So therefore, what I see the evolution, rather than a lot of new people, they wanted it to be a revolution. But through the evolution process, so we're talking today about the IEO. I'll speak more later on.
Okay, so that's a good point. And Lalit or Tony, do you know if IEOs are fully compliant, regulated? Is it something that is regulatory for now?
Yeah, if I talk about statics, I think everyone knows that in 2017, it was a huge boom of ICOs that came in. And relatively, by the mid of 2018, the frequency got down because of many ICOs that they had collected the funds and they have never shown up. And meanwhile, there were STOs. But Now, at the end of 2018 and this 2019, the new evolution has raised up as an IEO. The best part I like for IEO is that you have to meet up to some exchange. Without exchange, you won't be able to raise funds. And another beauty of this coming up as in exchange is that you have the real volume. There are many exchanges, those are coming up and showing as a fake volume, but at least for these projects, you won't be having any fake volume because the person, those who have purchased the tokens would be the real, not the airdrop. The next, what I believe in IEO, there are people who are in search of marketing and they are unable to do the marketing because of funds. But once they come as an IEO with an exchange, and pretty good exchange, they are already marketing themselves.
So the exchange will give you some visibility directly because you're going to have your project there with the IEO, you say?
Yes.
Okay.
But
And
it's not just about visibility, though. I'd like to kind of emphasize that. It's also, when you raise money with an ICO, you're able to, maybe raise a lot of money, but where is your token listed afterwards? And I think that's a really important point because you can see your market cap just, kind of shrink, and your coin has been, the volume is just crazy, and then your coin doesn't have any more value. So if you're not able to list it on an exchange, then it's not going to have any value, right? And so this is also a problem that the IEOs are solving. You're automatically, within 2 days, going to be listed on our exchange. So real volume and real users are going to be using it right away.
It's accountability. That's the thing. I think everybody is going around. It's accountability. ICO is the evolution of the finance, and then the STOs, and then we come back to IEOs. You asked about regulation. Okay, regulation can never. You asked about regulation and where's it legal at the moment. Yeah. Regulation will always take probably 6 to 12 months to catch up, okay? Because they're reactive, they're not proactive in the way. The marketplace will always be ahead of them, okay? But the whole thing is about the IEOs. It actually gives accountability to the investor, accountability to the exchange, and accountability to the projects, okay? But I like to look at things at a very simple point of view. It's like the ICOs was you bought a computer game but you didn't know where you could play it. Yeah. At least now, if you buy a computer game, you know you can play it on this one. At least now you know you've got an exit strategy. When I started in finance, the first thing my mentor told me is this: remember, it's very easy to go into investment. The damn thing is trying to get rid of it. Yeah. So the problem is that with all the ICOs, people went into it. They're thinking they're going to make 10,000% return. Yes, they did on paper, but they've got nowhere to sell it. Yeah? It's the evolution of finance from when you look from tulip mania to stocks to internet. History doesn't repeat itself, it mirrors itself. It just gives it new names. Yeah.
okay, so with IEOs, I think we have a lot of control based on the exchange that is doing the IEO. So that means choosing your exchange wisely is something probably very important. And once you are choosing an exchange, is it possible then to have your token listed somewhere else, or are you really locked in the exchange? Because you say that you are listed almost immediately, but only on the exchange that you are doing the IEOs on.
Sure. I mean, we don't control the other exchanges, right?
But is it easy after to be listed on other exchanges?
I mean, it depends on the quality of the exchange that you did the IEO on, right? If you're listed on our exchange, it's really likely that you'll be listed on all the other exchanges, because since we've been around for a long time, since we have 3 million users, since we've got a good reputation, other exchanges take us seriously. We launched our GT Gate Chain token that's going to be fueling our decentralized exchange at the end of the year. And it's been listed on Bitfinex and on a bunch of different exchanges. So yeah, I think, of course, it's always about credibility, because let me tell you, I've met a lot of different exchanges. A lot of exchanges have popped up, and a lot of that volume is fake. And a lot of those users are fake. So, if you want to partner with them and pay them 20% off how much you raise, go ahead. But that doesn't mean that the other exchanges are going to take you seriously.
So that means you are also doing the due diligence on all the projects you are taking on your exchange. Who is guaranteeing that the project is serious? And
we have a research team, very serious and very separate research team, because we really value integrity and transparency. So our team is very isolated. So if you want to apply similarly for IEO or for being listed generally on our exchange, then you can apply through the website. Very easy form to fill out, and they do a lot of research on back end. They go through a lot of different stuff. And I will tell you, by now we can tell what's fake and what's not fake. So, you're going to be one of the hundreds of applications that we see. However, one of the big things on our exchange is that we don't take a listing fee. A lot of these exchanges, they'll take up to $500,000 to list your token, which is also one of the reasons there was this whole issue with the ICOs and all of that. But yeah, we don't charge a listing fee. However, we like to give back to the user. So typically we'll ask the token to be able to allocate some funds so that our users are going to be able to benefit from that. And also they're going to be incentivized to trade. And that's going to keep your coin price from crashing.
okay. So if I'm a project holder, why would I choose an IEO over an STO, by example? What would be the main differences for the project?
Okay, let me take that one. So I want to put everything into the correct framework, okay? To begin with, if you look at what is IEO, IEO is basically, all of a sudden, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, is going to tell you, why don't you just list your stock with us? Forget about Goldman Sachs. Forget about Morgan Stanley. So you can guess how long it's going to last. So in terms of the IEO process, it's part of the stepping stone to eventually, we don't know what's going to happen. So throughout the whole world, as you can see, even in the regulated market, in the US, you don't have a lot of these IEO concepts, and nobody even dare to try. The people who are qualified to do it, you can take a look at ATS, such as T0, Harbor, Polymath, but none of them even, think about getting into that because of the regulation, the proper procedure. So out in the market, other than the reputable, player and Huobi, and you have a lot of these exchange all of a sudden just for convenience, say, hey, why don't you list with us? Then we can do something called an IEO instead of ICO. So what exactly most of the people are doing? Nothing more than just to attract more people to get listed there, but really not much effort other than that, And in terms of how to assist a sponsor to actually raise money, to have a ready investor pool to really buy your token. So that is really important for a lot of the new players coming into this market in 2019. So you have to understand, even people say, hey, I can do IEO, but it's only just one single step in the long evolution process.
I agree. Basically, we have to go back to the principles of finance. As you said, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, it's not long until they come to the play because they see how much money there is, okay? We're looking at a market cap now that's about 300 billion. It's going to go, they estimate it's going to be 6 trillion by 2025. With nobody said it, so I'll say it, Facebook coming to the scene, okay? Nobody needs to do KYC AML because they already know everything about you. So this is the whole thing now, it's now becoming in the mainstream. It's too profitable for the banks not to take accountability of, okay? And it's too profitable for the governments not to take profits from it, and that's the part. It's always everybody wants a piece of the action. Okay, let's not kid ourselves. Everybody wants to get paid. Okay, even if you're a taxman. Okay, even if you're exchange, even if you're an investor, you always need to get paid, and it's as simple as that. And the governments and the banks will come to it because they want the piece of the pie. It's now good enough for them to come in. So.
Okay, quite interesting. Any success stories you know about on the exchange, on the kind of project you've been onboarding?
Sure. I mean, we have a hard cap when funds are raised on our exchange. It goes from 250,000 being raised to all the way up to 3.6 million. So that was a real success. And we came into initially some issues with some of the value of the coin, but we readjusted a lot of the rules, and especially in the initial stages of trading. And we've been able to, make sure that whales don't come in and just dump all of the coins. And that's really important because, these projects, they come in and it's really exciting to raise $3.6 million, but if your coin isn't worth anything, you've just destroyed your project, right? And maybe you've been working on it for 2 years, and it's all over, just like that in the space of 2 days. So I think that's really important, making sure the value stays on. I'm really looking forward to the Telegram IEO. Graham. I think that's going to be really exciting. We're going to see exactly what IEOs are made of when they do their IEO.
That's quite interesting because I literally had the call last night of people that bought the first round of Telegram trying to dump it because they want to go into the IEO. Okay, so it's all this now. Everybody's trying to move the positions. Yeah, and it's quite interesting how everybody's moving the positions for the next phase to take advantage of the next pump. So.
Yeah, that was my next question about the pump and dump. Is it really a real concern about IEOs? So I think you answered about this. So everything is in the hand of the exchanges, and choose wisely.
Yes. We've input we've safeguarded and input a certain amount of rules about how trading happens at the beginning to make sure that doesn't happen. You can't control, everything, but normally later on, you're going to have your coin on other exchanges as well, so you're not going to just be dependent off ours.
Okay.
So in terms of the future, given that current situation that I described earlier, so I do see some future for utility token going through the IEO process in the overseas market, international market. But when it comes to the asset token and to do IEO, even we ourselves, being investment banker, we're FINRA licensed, and we've been trying to help actually a lot of the exchanges, we're working with, trying to get the first, attempt to conduct the IEO process by having a broker-dealer license. So by the way, any of you who are in this sphere, if you're interested, you can contact me afterwards to explore how to get the broker-dealer license in the US market to do that. But in terms of the other two type of token, utility token, because there's less restriction or regulation, so it's much easier for the exchange to use their resources to help the sponsor. Now, coming to the payment currency token, and for example, the Libra token. So it's something unique. Now, why did Facebook come to the market now? Because SEC has already declared Bitcoin, Ether, they are not securities. So number one, they cleared that major hurdle. Number two, I tweeted yesterday, if you can take a look at it. So what Facebook is doing, there's a lot of industry participants also express the same opinion. And it's not cryptocurrency. It's a digital currency, to face it. Then, I actually tweeted, I say, you might as well, instead of call it a Libra token, you could call it a Bilderberg token.
It's true. I'm not sure if you've seen The Economist in 1988. Okay, they've actually got. If you search it, Economist World Coin in 1988, there's a picture on there of the world token, and they've actually put 2018. It's quite interesting.
Yes.
It's quite interesting when you saw the Bilderbergs. It's very, very.
That's the new name I call them.
Okay, you never call them. Okay, nice knowing you. Bye. Yeah, just like.
So they have the mafia. You look at those people who actually invested 10 million each. Visa, all the major establishment, because the whole cryptocurrency movement is a libertarian against the establishment. Now the libertarians are losing, Eventually you have a Bitcoin, then they say Bitcoin is too volatile. Volatile against what? Against US dollar. So to the libertarians' view, it's a US dollar too volatile against Bitcoin. But they lost that battle, isn't it? So that's why you're talking about what the Facebook is doing. They gather together the world monopolies
Ralph, sorry, can you hold the microphone closer? You
I
can't
see.
hear you.
The big establishments. So that's right now, that's what they're doing, Then I do see they have a certain, degree of possibility of success because they align themselves with the establishments.
Okay.
But I mean, what's ironic with this whole thing is that they've said that it was going to be anonymous. They said the coin was going to, be an anonymous coin. I have trouble believing that the government is going to want to work with them if that's the case.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that they're joining forces with all these other companies is a way to kind of safeguard them against that.
So another name that I call them, I'm sure some of you have seen those T-shirts, and somebody wearing say anti-social social club. Has anybody seen that? So I call Libra coins anti-decentralization cryptocurrency.
Okay, interesting. So let's move on the crypto future. That's a good bridge for it. Can you explain what is a crypto future contract to the audience, if anyone want to?
One more time, I'm sorry.
About the crypto future. What are the crypto future contracts? What is the state of the market actually with CBOE?
The cryptocurrency.
So the crypto futures, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got it's basically if the futures market comes into effect, then the establishment will be ready to move in, okay? Short-term trading for establishment is not the way. They'd rather take long positions and also hedge themselves more than anything else. By having a futures contract, it's actually becoming more, it'll probably bring down the volatility, but also see much more of the institutional money flowing into the marketplace.
So this is really institution coming to the cryptocurrency through the traditional way of investing on derivative products.
The establishment.
Exactly. So we've been talking to some of the largest custodians out there for the big banks and stuff like that. They want to go in, but they need a way to hedge themselves from having all this amount of coins on their books and stuff like that, because that's the point. They're accountable to shareholders, and that's the part they need to make sure they actually can take the risk effectively. Okay.
But actually, all these contract ETF or CBOE on Bitcoin, they are cash settled. Is there any crypto settled future contract actually?
Yeah, there are future contracts for Bitcoins.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
People can do that as well. Yeah. So
And
the volume is
you can
increasing.
get paid in crypto, not in cash like CBOE or most of the contract actually?
So it's a bit like that at the moment. Usually it's the traditional way. So basically you've got the CFDs doing the whole positions, but actually a futures contract that is in crypto, I haven't actually seen one in the traditional sense.
On our exchange, on Gate.io, we're mostly focused on retail traders. And we've seen that the traders have really evolved a lot. When we first got started, they were only really interested in trading different coins, trading Bitcoin usually. And about 6 months ago, we started doing margin trading, perpetual contracts, all that kind of stuff. And it's really taken off. And we're seeing the users become more and more sophisticated.
Okay, so the retail investor are coming now to this kind of trading and investment, which was more
Absolutely.
for educated investor before. So
there's been a lot of education. There's still more education to be had, but I think there's a lot of information out there, and all of the people from the Forex market and all of that have come in, and so they've shared their knowledge about Forex and kind of applied it to the cryptocurrency world.
Yeah. So the way I look at what's the future for cryptocurrency, it's going to be a battle of the titans. So meaning the establishments. You got the sovereign entity, and you have the Visa, you have Facebook, you have JP Morgan. Everybody going to come out with their own stable coins. So that will be a battlefield for all the old establishments, because nobody can deny the benefits of the technology of a digital currency. So pretty soon you're going to see some of the central bank is going to come into the ring as well, and to have a CBDC, the central bank digital currency, because right now you can see already, and the Australian government's the first one, to make the opposition in terms of, let alone India. They didn't even clear with the Indian market. Yeah. So pretty soon, everybody going to see, if I don't get the turf, how can all the sovereign entities just lose their monetary policy, economic policy to Facebook? You think it's going to happen?
And that's interesting because you say about India.
Yeah.
One of the largest amounts of users for Facebook is India. Yeah.
Yes,
So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be.
Yeah, more not only Facebook, but if
We don't hear you.
not only Facebook. Not only Facebook, there are many other platforms that would be coming up. Like there are some people who are trying to acquire local Indian payment gateways like Paytm and all, because Paytm and UPI, they are one of the biggest platforms, payment gateways that are being used in India. And once the regulations come up in India as in favor of crypto, there will be a huge boom for all this.
Yeah. So for the central government, the central bank and all the government, the reason why they ban cryptocurrency is simply because, they cannot control it. And it's not in my backyard. I don't have an interest in it. But pretty soon, the government will realize if you don't do it to disrupt yourself, somebody else will do. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Yeah.
So that's why if you're the sovereignty, right, government, if you don't do it, Facebook, JP Morgan, they're going to come up with a digital currency. What can you do? Sooner or later, you're going to lose control.
And it's not even that they are going to have the users use it. They can just use it internally, right?
Yeah.
And just benefit from the technology and from the cost benefits there.
It's okay, we fixed it. So yeah, I just call this air miles on steroids. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, you can call it what it is. It is. It's effectively air miles on steroids. Yeah. So Facebook has now created the first one world where everybody can join in, and
You haven't created it yet, though.
Oh, tomato. Facebook's went boom. Okay, MoneyGram, everybody's jumped on it. Markets are good. It's the story. That's the thing.
It's 2 billion. If they really want to put it to 2 billion people, right? I mean, the scale that they're going to need to.
They will have a lot of resistance.
Even if they distribute it for free, there will be a huge transaction that can be earned up.
The whole thing is the data stuff, okay?
Yes.
If you think about it, why has Facebook done this more and more, okay? There's so much noise coming out about how they're using data and advertising and stuff like that. They need a way to actually evolve and get ahead of any legal situation before it comes into effect. It's basically they need to figure out, okay, how can we keep the business going and incentivize people to keep on using it? That's how they're trying to do it. This is effectively, they're trying to keep Facebook going by adding this crypto into the whole effect.
So do you think also it's good for crypto adoption or it's a threat? What do you think about this?
It's like water. Okay, water is good for you, but can also kill you. Yeah.
The fact also that the problem actually it's very difficult to enter crypto for most people. Managing your private keys, all the software is at the beginning, and Facebook is integrating that into their apps. And for what I've seen in terms of the UI, it seems to be very easy and it's more like banking, online banking. And maybe this is something that we should follow up also in crypto in terms of what we need to do. That means really let the people understand what they are doing with this kind of software.
Make it simple. If it's simple to use by people will use it. Okay, it's like mobile phones and cars. People don't know how a mobile phone works, but it's easy to understand and use, so they use it.
But actually, the standard is nano ledger. It's quite complicated.
It is, but the thing is, as a user, you don't need to understand how all the circuitry works, or you don't need to understand how a car works. You just need to understand if I do this, this happens. Yeah. So that's the same thing with cryptocurrency. I think is the evolution needs to go from this to adaption to more. Okay, make it easy. Okay, you don't need to understand the whole process of how it does. You just need to understand if I do this, this happens. It's like the cause and effect. It's like you don't need to understand A, B, C, D. You just need to understand A to D. And what happens in the center is fine.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So, in my mind right now, given the situation, right, what we have been observing is really the wrong tool of what people call the cryptocurrency development. So round one is libertarian Bitcoin, right? So they got to grant the hope in terms of not just the benefit of a digital currency, but also the libertarian view. This actually across the whole world. No sovereign entity. Nobody can actually dictate where the value is. So that why in the round 2, where we are now, is sort of losing battle. But that's another end of the story. The round 3, the Bitcoin can have a major comeback. The libertarian can have a major comeback if Bitcoin goes up to 50,000 next month.
Next month.
True.
Okay, thanks a lot. Maybe we can get some question on the audience, if you have any question.
Absolutely. We actually inviting the audience always to participate, and
Sure.
feel free to ask a question anytime. Do you have any questions for our panelists? Any?
There.
Hi. I come from the Forex world, and I wanted to know if you could think in a few years, because the crypto is, I call it as a next step of what Forex used to be. And beforehand, there used to be the binary, we won't talk about it. And I wanted to hear from you in, let's say, 5-10 years, what would you think would be the next step? Because it was a binary, Forex, and now there's crypto. And let's be honest, it's more or less the same players, the same experience of the users. The regulation catches on after a few years, and then they kind of, I don't want to say destroy the game, but they kind of change things around. And then the users and everyone in the market are thinking, okay, how to reinvent ourselves? What do you think is the next thing?
Good question.
So I'm based in Japan, and it's quite an interesting concept. It's called Mrs. Hasegawa. Okay, Mrs. Hasegawa is the traditional Japanese housewife. Okay, so I was thinking, what are you doing, a drink? Well, yeah, sure. I was thinking, fancy? Yeah, go on, it's a bit early, but I'll have a drink. So, it's evening somewhere, my dear. So, Mrs. Ha is the traditional Japanese housewife that used to do Forex. She's one of the, so there's about 3.5 million legal crypto entities in Japan. So they've done KYC, AML. So you can see the evolution towards it, okay? The next one would probably be property. And then probably going into more the dark pool stuff. It's basically, if you think of how finance has evolved over the years, if you just look at that and add this to the crypto market, it's exactly the same thing. Yeah? As I said, the only constants between both of them is humans, okay? And it's exactly the same thing. We will adapt to survive, and that is programmed in our DNA, okay?
Good point. That's right.
Anyone else has a question?
Sure.
Hi, I would like to ask about IEO. If we need to do the IEO, how can we choose which exchange we choose list on that exchange? Do you have any criteria to choose the exchange?
Sure. I mean, exchanges are companies, right? So find the company, I think, that best fits what you're trying to achieve, what values you have. Like I said, Gate.io really has the values of transparency, integrity, honor, all of that kind of stuff. So that's going to be really important. There's no like behind the scenes, there's not going to be any private sales with us or like any of that kind of stuff. So if that's what you're looking for, then don't apply with us. If you're looking to, you know, benefit from our 3 million users, be able to raise $2 million, be able to, enter a global market, then apply. I think, I mean, in general, right, you're going to try and meet as many people from exchanges, and you're going to try and see like who you can get a better deal with, who's the best fit. Similarly to if you're going to get funding from an investment fund, I should think.
Okay, so I guess the answer is do your homework, and due diligence is key.
Or just ask question in an event like this and watch all the exchanges go to you, okay? That's probably the easiest way.
Yeah, I can probably give you some advice. If you are a sponsor, you're entrepreneurs, you want to raise money. So what's different now versus the peak of the market, 2017? Back in 2017, anybody come up with a good idea or a dumb idea, good marketing, you can raise money in the ICO market. But most of the people who raise money nowadays, they regret that they did it. And because the majority, 99.9% of the ICO, they're all trying to raise money from the investors by telling story. They don't have a product. They don't have a business. So it's the anomaly, if I can call it that way. And now the regulator getting smarter. They're getting more knowledgeable. They're after you. And try to happen, the majority of the ICO done in 2017, what happened? The bulk of it, most of them raised money in Bitcoin or Ether. So during that time, some people, I even have a story, people wanted to raise, 60 million because of Ether went up from 400 to 900. They ended up with 26 million in fiat currency term. But the thing is, they didn't convert it. They left it in crypto. Then it collapsed down to 100. In the fiat currency term, they have only 2 million to deliver a project they promised the investors that's worth 60 million. How are they going to do it? So I hate to say this, I've been traveling around the world, I speak in a lot of conferences. Even the beginning of the year, I started meeting people in the electronic leg shackle, They don't even know how many years they're going to serve or how much restitution they have to give back to. So it is, very important for you to understand this consequence on the other side. Now, the positive side of it is right now, if you come into the market, the good thing is if you follow the rule, follow the regulation. The regulation is not to protect investors. It's also to protect the sponsor. Because if you follow the regulation, you don't have to worry about it. If a market collapses, it's not my fault, it's the market's fault. So that, what you need to do nowadays, to have a quality, either ICO, IEO, whatever you want to call it, is trying to get the market, get a product, and conduct some business. That can eliminate the bulk of the potential risk. And that's my best advice, for any potential issuer. So.
Yeah, I totally agree with him, because if you don't have any product or the attractive product, even if you go with a good exchange, you won't be able to gather the volume, right? So better get a good product and then go with the exchange. Right?
Yeah, one more thing I want to add to that. A lot of people have the wishful thinking to say, hey, if I find a good broker-dealer, if I find a good IEO exchange, then it's all set. I'll let them handle it. In reality, most of the successful project is still based on your own personal network. You get listed on the exchange, you actually market to your own sphere of influence. That's how most of the successful ICO were done before. So if anybody don't know anybody, just say, hey, I get listed, hoping people to come. They will not come.
I agree. I think to go answer your question and the question, the topic with the IEO, ICO is the accountability. I think by choosing it, you're accountable to another organization, your investors and everything like that, okay? And I think exactly as you said, is basically your network, okay? It's basically your network is your net worth. And I think from a company point of view, that is so important, okay? Why do you think Facebook is valued? Yes, I know, shut up, Tony, I know. I can see you just about to say, shh, okay. But basically your net worth is worth...
just put the microphone closer.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to, like this, be quiet, Tony, okay. Your time's up. Hey, I'm used to people...
No, don't worry.
It's basically your network is your net worth. If you think of Facebook, yeah, that is the whole thing. Your network is your net worth. This is why it's so valuable, yeah. So it's the same thing, exactly as you said. You just have to, if you believe in your project, you've got no problem going to your friends and family, yeah, to get it working, yeah. If you don't believe in it, then that should be a big indicator for you.
So that being open a Telegram channel and get 60,000 people in it, like back in the days.
62, come
62.
on.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tony.
Thank you so much. Do we have any more questions?
CoinMarketCap currently has listed more than 2,000 currencies. What do you think, who will survive that battle with currencies and why?
When you find out, please let me know.
From my point of view, we've just launched a new service called Blockchain Desk. It's basically, we look at the principle 80-20. Yeah? It's always the case through nature, it doesn't matter. 20% of those projects will probably survive, the other 80 will disappear. So what we're doing now is looking at opportunities to merge or buy projects that have gone bankrupt or on the verge of going bankrupt, because they've created stuff and it's useful. So we've seen a huge amount of this kind of technology and all this assets not being used, so we're actually bringing it together and repackaging to add to other allocations. It's the 80-20, it doesn't change.
And as you say, they have more than 2,000 currency, but you have a lot of overlaps. You have many tokens that do exactly the same things. And I guess also, as you say, there's really three types of tokens: the utility, the payment, and the security one. Actually, the payment token seems to really have a use case. If you look at Bitcoin, it's useful, and people use it.
Yeah.
For a lot of other tokens, I think the future will say if they can succeed or not, because there's a lot of assumptions
Right.
about what they could possibly do.
So the correct way to answer your question is really to ask yourself, what is the time horizon? You have a 1 week horizon, you have a 1 year horizon, or you have a 10-year horizon. And the majority in the cryptocurrency market, they have a few days horizon.
Swing trading.
Yeah.
They get in and get out, make some money, that's it.
It's true.
Yeah, because if you see that, like you said, more than 2,000 currencies are already available, and more than 5,000 currencies are in the scale of coming up. But you never know that from 5,000, how many are going to survive.
Thank you, Guy.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay.
Thanks, guys. Great panel. Are there any exchanges that are set up to do IEOs on security tokens?
I believe that there are. There will be, I'm sure.
Probably on the way yet, but did not hear about it. Anybody know that?
I'd probably look towards Malta or Gibraltar. Yeah, okay, thank you. Malta or Gibraltar might be, they're probably the most adapt, and they're trying to evolve as fast as possible to go this. I think I've seen some mentions in Gibraltar and a little in Malta, but I can't give you 100%. But I'd probably look at those jurisdictions more than anywhere else, because they're trying to become like the crypto kind of hubs, yeah.
Isn't it what the sixth exchange in Switzerland is doing? I think they are doing something like this, I'm not sure. But we can research on that and get back to you.
I don't think that any exchange is doing IEO for STO at the moment. But yes, you can think of the future, maybe something can come up.
Liechtenstein as well, sorry. Liechtenstein has been one of the jurisdictions that have been doing quite a lot of STOs as well. So that was the other thing that just came to my mind. So.
I think until there's more regulation, the whole STO question is still kind of up in the air. And I think IOs will dominate over STOs until we see regulation.
There's one exchange in Singapore that is in the sandbox for securities token exchange and therefore issuance as well. But they will only they've announced the issuance of one securities token by the end of the year, so it's still early stage.
You have the name of the exchange?
I think it's called One Exchange, if I remember properly, but I can try to find out.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think we are at the end. So thank you very much for...
Perfect on time.
Thank you.